like to thank the world.
I'm telling my whole life with his words killing me softly.
I've been trying to lose weight for about a year. I've lost 42 pounds in about 16 months. And I want to lose some more.
Who the competition is in terms of my career would have to be the younger singers.
Funny tonight here, she was the soundtrack to the 70s, a piano prodigy, and her voice was flawless. Tonight, remembering Roberta Flack.
The world awoke to the somber news of the passing of an extraordinary talent, Roberta Flack. The famous singer, known for Killing Me Softly, has passed away at 88. Her beautiful voice touched millions, but behind the scenes, she had a terrible secret.
To have the opportunity to work with one of the world's most talented people who met a very unfortunate and early end to his life. I'm speaking of the great Donny Hathaway.
What happened to her? What was she hiding? Fans are shocked by the recent truth. In this video, we will reveal the heartbreaking story behind Roberta Flack's final days.
I studied classical piano repertoire. I wanted to be a concert pianist.
Roberta Flack was born in Black Mountain, North Carolina. Her father, Laren Flack, worked for the U.S. Veterans Administration, and her mother, Irene, was a school cook and played the organ at church. When Roberta was 5, her family moved to Arlington, Virginia. Music was a big part of Roberta's life from a young age. She grew up in a musical family and played piano at church. She loved listening to gospel music, especially songs by Mahalia Jackson and Sam Cooke. When Roberta was 9, she became interested in playing the piano. She worked hard and became very good at it.
And I practiced and I practiced and I practiced it.
In her early teens, she competed in a piano contest for black students and won second place. Because of her talent, she got a music scholarship to Howard University.
I was taught by a person who was an expert when it came to Bach and music of the Baroque period, you know, Scarlatti, Haydn. She excelled at that. She was a black woman who taught piano at Howard University.
At just 15 years old, Roberta started college at Howard University. But her life changed when her father suddenly passed away. She had to find a job, so she started teaching music and English at a small high school in Farmville, North Carolina. The school was segregated, meaning only black students could attend. She was paid just $2,800 a year, which was not much, but she worked hard and continued her love for music.
As a classically trained musician, popular music was not the most challenging kind of music for me to play. And to see grown people acting like kids behind a little simple song is a kind of a different experience for somebody. That's a strange kind of power.
Roberta's journey in the music industry was not always easy. As a black woman in the classical and jazz music world, she faced many obstacles. Even with her success, the industry was not always welcoming to someone like her. One of the biggest challenges she faced was racism. The music industry has often favored white artists, especially in classical and jazz music. Flack was classically trained and had a refined style, but some critics believed that black artists should sound a certain way. Instead of celebrating her unique talent, some people felt her music lacked energy compared to singers like Aretha Franklin. Critics like Robert Christgau even said her music was too gentle for soul music. But Flack proved them wrong. She won the Grammy for Record of the Year 2 years in a row. First in 1973 for The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face.
The first time ever I saw your face.
And then in 1974 for Killing Me, Softly with his song. This was an incredible achievement, yet the music industry did not always give her the respect she deserved. When the Grammy Awards celebrated great artists, Flack did not receive a proper tribute. Instead, she was only shown briefly in the audience, smiling. This lack of recognition is part of a bigger problem. Over time, popular music's history has ignored or downplayed Flack's influence. She broke barriers, but the music industry did not always acknowledge her impact. Even though she was eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since 1994, she has never been nominated. Even though she was often overlooked by the industry, many artists, including Alicia Keys, have been influenced by her. Flack showed that music does not have to be loud or aggressive to be powerful. Talking about the song Killing Me Softly. With his song, not everyone knows how it came to be.
I'm telling my whole life with his words killing me softly.
The song was originally written for a singer named Lori Lieberman by Charles Fox and Norman Gimbel.
Calming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words.
However, there has been some debate over who really came up with the idea for the song. Some say Lieberman played a big role in writing the lyrics, while others say she had little to do with it. No matter the truth, the song became famous because of Roberta Flack. She discovered it in a very unexpected way, and her version made her one of the biggest stars in music history. Flack first heard the song while she was on an airplane.
And I opened the brochure that describes what music you can select. And there's a song, Killing Me Softly, with his song.
In 1971, Lori Lieberman went to a concert in Los Angeles to see folk singer Don McLean perform. While watching him sing a song called Empty Chairs, she felt deeply moved. She quickly grabbed a napkin and started writing down her thoughts. Later, she shared her ideas with Charles Fox and Norman Gimbel, the two songwriters who were working with her at the time. They took her notes and turned them into what became Killing Me Softly with his song. Fox created the melody, while Lieberman and Gimbel worked on the lyrics. Lieberman recorded the song in 1972, but it did not become popular. Not long after, Roberta Flack came across the song in a surprising way. She was flying from Los Angeles to New York and listening to music on the airplane's audio program. The song immediately caught her attention. She later said in an interview that as soon as she heard the title, it grabbed her. She listened to the song over and over, writing down the melody as best as she could. When she landed, she was so excited that she called Quincy Jones, a famous music producer, and asked how she could meet Charles Fox, one of the songwriters. Within just 2 days, she had the music in her hands.
When I got ready to do the song, I was hoping that I'd hear some little opening there. Say, aha, you could do that, you don't have to do this, and it would sound great.
Flack decided to make the song her own by changing it slightly. She adjusted some of the melody and gave it a fresh, emotional touch. In 1972, she performed her version during a Quincy Jones concert. The crowd absolutely loved it. Their loud applause made her realize that she had something special. This encouraged her to officially record and release the song in 1973. It became part of her album, Killing Me Softly, and from that moment on, it was a massive hit. People everywhere fell in love with her voice and the deep emotions of the song.
Words killing me softly with this song.
Despite the song's success, there has been a long argument over who truly deserves credit for it. Lori Lieberman has always said that she helped write the lyrics and that the song was based on her personal experience at the Don McLean concert. However, Charles Fox and Norman Gimbel later refused to give her credit. Over the years, they have made different statements about her role in writing the song. At first, Gimbel admitted that Lieberman shared her concert experience with them and that they used it to create the song. He even said that the three of them discussed the idea together. But years later, Fox changed the story, saying that he and Gimbel wrote the song on their own and that Lieberman simply liked it because it reminded her of the concert. This contradiction has caused confusion, and many people are still unsure of who truly deserves the credit.
GMA cover story. Grammy-winning musician Roberta Flack sharing that she has been diagnosed with ALS and revealing that the progressive disease has made it impossible for her to sing.
Roberta has had a long and successful career, but her health made it difficult for her to continue performing. One of the first serious health problems she faced was a stroke. In 2018, she was at the Apollo Theater in New York when she suddenly felt sick. She was supposed to receive a special award for her lifetime achievements in music. But before the event could start, she was taken to the hospital. Doctors wanted to keep her overnight to make sure she was okay. Many fans were worried about her, but her team assured everyone that she was doing fine. However, this health issue was a sign that performing might not be easy for her anymore.
Flack has overcome a number of medical episodes, having suffered multiple strokes in 2016 and 2018.
As she tried to recover, the COVID-19 pandemic made things even harder. The pandemic forced many artists to cancel performances and stay at home. Roberta talked about how difficult this was for her, because she loved being on stage and performing for her fans. She hoped that one day she could return to performing. But another serious health issue changed everything. But sadly, in 2022, Roberta was diagnosed with ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
It's a disease of the motor system, the nerves that drive the muscles, and it leads to weakness. It really could be any muscle group in the body that gets struck first, and then it tends to spread from there.
ALS is a serious illness that affects the nerves controlling muscle movement. Over time, people with ALS lose the ability to move, speak, and even breathe on their own. This disease made it impossible for Roberta to sing, which forced her to retire from performing. Her manager said that even though ALS took away her ability to sing, it could never take away her spirit.
And the winner is Zacco. Oh, killing me softly with his song, producer Joel Dawn, Roberta Flack.
Roberta won 4 Grammy Awards and had 5 gold albums in just 6 years. People said she was as talented as great singers like Leontine Price and Billie Holiday. Some movie producers even wanted her to play the legendary blues singer Bessie Smith in a film. But suddenly, Roberta stopped making music. For 3 years, she didn't release any new songs and barely performed in concerts. One reason she took a break was her health. She had a throat problem called tonsillitis that kept coming back. Doctors suggested surgery, but she refused because it could have changed her voice. She didn't want to take that risk. Then, another big problem came when the IRS told her she owed nearly $1 million in taxes. This was a difficult time for her, but Roberta didn't give up. Even when she wasn't releasing new songs, she kept working on her music. She knew that she would make a comeback when the time was right. And she was right. When she returned to music, she became successful again. Her 1978 album, Blue Lights in the Basement, became a big hit and sold many copies. A song from the album, The Closer I Get to You, reached number 2 on the music charts. Another song, If Ever I See You Again, became very popular as well. Soon, she released a new album, Roberta Flack, and her smooth, emotional singing sounded better than ever. After struggling for a few years, she was back on top, and the money started coming in again. The IRS would have a hard time keeping up with her success.
I'd like to thank the world.
In an interview in 1989, Flack talked about her personal mantra, which she learned from an old hymn. The words were, "Be strong. We are not here to play, to dream, to drift. We have hard work to do and loads to lift." These words stayed with her throughout her career. She believed that being a black artist in America was always a struggle, but she had one thing no one could take away: her intelligence. When Flack started taking full control of her music, some critics noticed a change. They said her style had become blacker, meaning it had a stronger R&B and jazz influence. A critic from the New York Times described her new music as dreamy and smooth, with a jazz feel. Instead of following trends, she created music that was true to her heart. the impact of Donny Hathaway death on Roberta Flack. Sadly, on Monday, February 24th, Roberta Flack passed away at the age of 88.
Funny tonight here, she was the soundtrack to the 70s, a piano prodigy, and her voice was flawless. Tonight, remembering Roberta Flack.
According to Flack's publicist, Elaine Schock, she died at home, surrounded by her family. Roberta Flack's death comes 46 years after her collaborator and classmate from college, Donny Hathaway's life was cut short. In January 1979, Hathaway and Flack were working together on their second duet album when he suffered a breakdown during a recording session. Donny Hathaway struggled with mental illness for many years. He had a condition called paranoid schizophrenia, which made him hear voices and feel like people were out to harm him. Even though he was very talented, his illness made life difficult.
All you had to do was listen to him sing and play, and you would discern the elements of a very, very gifted individual.
He had moments of deep sadness and confusion. His friends and family tried to support him, but at times, he would withdraw from them. Despite his struggles, he continued to create music, and people loved his work.
I went to see him once. He was in one of the private hospitals in the city. Donny was sitting there at the piano with his cap on and his robe and his pajamas.
In 1978, Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway decided to work on another duet album. They had already made great music together, and their fans were excited to hear more. One of their new songs, The Closer I Get to You, became a big hit. It showed how well they worked together. They planned to record more songs, but sadly, they never got the chance. One night, while they were in New York City, Donny had a breakdown during a recording session. He started acting strangely, saying things that didn't make sense.
She said when he would take his medicine, he would be fine. When he didn't, she said she could take him for maybe 2 or 3 days and then would need a break. What she meant by that, I can only imagine.
The people around him were worried because they knew about his mental health issues. Later that night, something terrible happened. Donny fell from the window of his hotel room on the 15th floor. His body was found on the ground outside. The police ruled it as a suicide, but some people believed it might have been an accident. He was only 33 years old when he died. Roberta Flack was heartbroken. She had lost not only a music partner, but also a dear friend. They had been working so hard on their new album, and now she had to finish it alone.
The whole thing is getting out.
The album was released in 1980, but it was not the same without Donny. She spoke about him many times over the years, saying how special he was. In an interview, she said their musical connection was something she had never experienced before or after. She admired his talent and felt lucky to have worked with him. Roberta Flack carried his memory with her for the rest of her life. She continued her successful career, but she never forgot the friend and partner she lost. Their songs together remain classics, reminding people of the magic they created. When it comes to private life, Roberta prefers to keep her personal life private. She lived in the Dakota, a famous apartment building in Manhattan, where John Lennon and Lauren Bacall also lived. She was married to a white jazz musician named Steve Novosel. But they divorced in 1972 after 7 years. Now she has a partner named Stuart Bosley, who works in TV and film. They are deeply connected, and while she doesn't clearly say if they are married, she believes in love, happiness, and spending time together. Bosley has 3 children from a past marriage, and Roberta hopes to have a baby of her own. Sadly, she has had miscarriages, which has made it difficult. Even though she is famous for music, Roberta has never lost her love for teaching.
When I was teaching physical education, and I taught math classes, I taught English classes.
Which is a waste, I guess.
No, not a waste, but not music.
Over the years, she has performed at many important events, including singing for Martin Luther King Jr. and Reuben Hurricane Carter. Now, she is studying to get a PhD in education at the University of Massachusetts. Some of her friends, like Bill Cosby and Quincy Jones, also studied there. She says she loves teaching just as much as singing. Maybe instead of being called the Queen of Soul one day, she will be known as Dr. Roberta Flack.
As a classically trained musician, popular music was not the most challenging kind of music for me to play. And to see grown people acting like kids behind a little simple song is a kind of a different experience for somebody. That's a strange kind of power.
Now let's change gears and talk about her successful career and how it started. She started her career in the 1970s, playing jazz in a nightclub in Washington, D.C. One night, a well-known jazz pianist and singer named Les McCann heard her perform. He was so impressed by her voice that he felt deep emotions while listening to her. So he quickly arranged for her to audition for a major music company called Atlantic Records. During the audition, Flack played an incredible 42 songs in just 3 hours. The producer, Joel Dorn, was amazed by her talent. Soon after, in November 1968, she recorded 39 songs in under 10 hours, showing her dedication and hard work. Within a few months, Atlantic Records helped her create her first album, First Take, which was completed in just 10 hours. This was an amazing achievement for a new artist. Flack's career changed forever when her song, The First Time Ever, I Saw Your Face, was chosen by actor and director Clint Eastwood for his movie Play Misty for Me. The song became a massive hit in 1972, spending 6 weeks as the #1 song in America. It sold over 1 million copies and won a Grammy Award for Record of the Year in 1973. This song made her a superstar, and her album First Take also became a bestseller, reaching #1 on the music charts. Eastwood, who had only paid $2,000 to use the song, remained a lifelong admirer and friend of Flack. After this success, Flack continued making hit songs. As earlier mentioned, she worked with Donny Hathaway, and together they created beautiful duets. Their song, Where Is the Love, won a Grammy Award in 1972, and another song, The Closer I Get to You, became a huge hit in 1978. Sadly, their partnership ended when Hathaway passed away in 1979. After his death, Flack released their final album together, called Roberta Flack, featuring Donny Hathaway.
To have the opportunity to work with one of the world's most talented people who met a very unfortunate and early end to his life. I'm speaking of the great Donny Hathaway.
In 1973, Flack achieved another major success with Killing Me Softly with his song. This song became her second #1 hit and won 2 Grammy Awards.
And the winner is Zappo. Oh, Killing Me Softly with his song, producer Joel Dorn, Roberta Flack.
The song was emotional and touched many people's hearts. It became one of her most famous songs. The album that included the song sold millions of copies and received a special award for its success. A year later, in 1974, Flack released another hit song called Feel Like Makin' Love, which also reached #1 on the music charts. She produced this song herself under a different name, Rubina Flake. In the same year, she sang Freedom for the movie Huckleberry Finn and performed When We Grow Up with a young Michael Jackson on a television special. Flack's music influenced many artists. As the years passed, Flack continued to release new music. In 1982, her song Making Love, written by the famous songwriter Burt Bacharach, became popular. In 1983, she recorded a song with Peabo Bryson called "Tonight I Celebrate My Love," which became a big hit, especially in the United Kingdom. In 1986, Flack's voice became familiar to TV viewers when she sang the theme song for the popular show Valerie, later called The Hogan Family. The song was used throughout all 6 seasons of the show. The following year, in 1987, she provided the voice of Michael Jackson's mother in the music video for his song Bad. Flack continued to receive recognition for her contributions to music. In 1999, she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That same year, she traveled to South Africa and performed for Nelson Mandela, the country's president. She sang "Killing Me Softly," and it was a special moment for both her and Mandela. Flack's music influenced many artists, especially in a style called Quiet Storm, a soft and smooth type of R&B music. She also performed songs written by famous musicians like Leonard Cohen and the Beatles. She was known for her ability to take a song and make it her own, adding deep emotions and a unique style. In 2012, Flack released an album called Let It Be Roberta, where she sang cover versions of songs by the Beatles. The album included classics like Hey Jude and Let It Be. Flack had a special connection with the Beatles because she lived in the same apartment building as John Lennon and Yoko Ono in New York City. She was even asked to create a second album of Beatles covers.
I'd like to thank the world.
Roberta Flack's career has been filled with incredible achievements. She started as a young woman playing in a nightclub and became one of the most respected and admired singers in the world. Her voice has touched millions of people, and her songs continue to be loved by fans of all ages. Flack's music is timeless, and her impact on the world of music will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, Robert Flack.